20 October 2021. The Hindu Business News. Domestic air traffic rebounds to highest in second wave. Carriers flew over 70 lakh passengers in September, still only at 57% of pre-COVID level. Domestic aviation has been making a steady recovery from the brutal impact of the second wave of COVID-19. Indian Airlines together ferried a little more than 70 lakh passengers in September, registering a growth of 5.4% over the previous month, according to the Directorate General of Civil Aviation monthly report. Second wave impact. The last time passenger traffic figures exceeded 70 lakh was in March, following which they saw a sharp drop, 57.25 lakh in April, 21.15 lakh in May, before starting to recover to 31.13 lakh in June, 50.07 lakh in July, and 67.01 lakh in August. However, domestic passenger traffic still continues to lag behind levels seen prior to the second wave. During the best months so far since the outbreak of COVID-19, these numbers hovered between 73 lakh and 78 lakh between December 2020 and March 2021. In February 2020, before the pandemic hit air travel, India's monthly domestic passenger traffic was at 1.23 crore, indicating that last month's figures were only at 57% of pre-COVID levels. The recently improved passenger numbers mean that most airlines witnessed flights with about two-thirds of the seats sold, or seats filled. SpiceJet had the highest passenger load factor or seat occupancy at 78.8%, followed by Go Air at 74.1%, Indigo at 73.6%, Vistar at 72.4%, and AirAsia at 68%. Air India, said to be acquired by the Tata Group, had a load factor of 63.7%. Gross NPS of banks to rise to 8 to 9% from 7.5%. CRISIL. Retail MSMEs to contribute more to stressed assets NPS. As the rural segment has seen strong recovery, stressed assets in agri are expected to remain stable. Special correspondent Mumbai. Gross non-performing assets NPS of banks are expected to rise to 8 to 9% this fiscal from 7.5% as on March 31, but they would still remain below the peak of 11.2% seen at the end of fiscal 2018. CRISIL Ratings said in a report. COVID-19 relief measures such as the restructuring dispensation and the emergency credit line guarantee scheme (ECLGS) would help limit the rise itself. With 2% of bank credit expected another restructuring by the end of this fiscal, stressed assets comprising gross NPAs and loan book under restructuring should touch 10 to 11%, the ratings agency said. The retail and MSME segments, which together form 40% of bank credit, are expected to see higher accretion of NPAs and stressed assets this time around, said Krishnan Siddharaman, Senior Director and Deputy Chief Ratings Officer. Rate of effect. Stress assets in these segments are seen rising to 4.4 to 5% and 17 to 18% respectively by this fiscal end. The numbers would have trended even higher, but for write-offs primarily in the unsecured segment, he added. The rural segment, which was hit harder during the second wave of pandemic, has also seen a strong recovery. Therefore, stressed assets in the agriculture segment are expected to remain relatively stable, the ratings agency pointed out. Base case scenario. It said the estimates were predicated on a base case scenario of 9.5% GDP growth this fiscal and continued improvement in corporate credit quality. A virulent third wave and significant deceleration in demand growth could pose significant downside risks to these estimates, it added. Moody's raises banking system outlook to stable. Sites likely pick up in credit growth. Press Trust of India, New Delhi. Moody's Investor Service on Tuesday raised the outlook for the Indian banking system to stable from negative, citing moderate deterioration of asset quality since the onset of the pandemic and a likely pickup in credit growth with economic recovery. Moody's expects India's economy to continue to recover in the next 12 to 18 months, with GDP growing 9.3% in the fiscal year ending March 2022 and 7.9% in the following year. The pickup in economic activity will drive credit growth, which we expect to be 10 to 13% annually. Weak corporate financials and funding constraints at finance companies have been key negative factors for banks, but these risks have receded. Moody's said in its Banking System Outlook India report. The quality of corporate loans has improved, indicating that banks have provisioned for all legacy problem loans in this segment. The quality of retail loans has deteriorated, but to a limited degree because large-scale job losses have not occurred, it said. CAD to hit 1.3% on commodity price rise. BOFI. Press Trust of India, Mumbai. Rising global commodity prices will shave a lot of the current account, leading to a higher imports and a rise in current account deficit, which is likely to print at 1.3% of the GDP, according to a report by Bank of America Securities (BOI). Given the sharp increase in global commodity prices, particularly oil, concerns about current account deficit (CAD) and its serviceability have resurfaced, the report said. But we see financial year 22 CAD at 1.3% of GDP or $40 billion, up from a 0.9% surplus in financial year 21, that still will contain under the threshold of 2.5% of GDP, POF said on Tuesday. HUL quarter 2 net profit rises 9% to 2,187 crore rupees as sales increases 11%. Cautiously optimistic about demand recovery, says Mehta. Special correspondent Mumbai. Hindustan Unilever Limited HUL reported net profit for the second quarter ended September 30 grew 9% to 2,187 crore rupees compared with the year earlier period on the back of a robust broad-based performance in a challenging environment. HUL also reported a domestic consumer growth of 11% during the quarter. The performance was broad-based with all three divisions, home care, beauty and personal care, and foods and refreshment growing competitively, it said in a filing. Business fundamentals remained strong with more than 3/4 of the business gaining market share, it added. Input cost inflation. September quarter witnessed a sequential improvement in trading conditions, albeit remained challenging with unprecedented levels of input cost inflation and subdued consumer sentiment, said CMD Sanjeev Mehta. In this backdrop, we have delivered a strong performance, growing top line in double digits and stepping up profitability sequentially, he added. The board declared an interim dividend of ₹15 for the year ending March 31. Looking forward, we remain cautiously optimistic about demand recovery, Mr. Mehta said. In these times of uncertainty and unprecedented input cost inflation, we continue to firmly focus on delivering consistent, competitive, profitable, and responsible growth. Nestle India quarter 3 net rises 5% to 617 crore rupees. Press Trust of India, New Delhi. FMCG major Nestle India Limited on Tuesday reported a 5.15% rise in net profit to 617.37 crore rupees for the third quarter end of September, driven largely by a high single-digit volume and mixed growth in the domestic market across brands. Net sales rose 9.63% to 3,864.97 rupees, Nestle India said in a BSE filing. In a separate filing, Nestle India said its board on Tuesday approved a second interim dividend of rupees 110 per equity share of 10 each for the year 2022. The company said the e-commerce channel is expected to continue its growth journey and is gaining increasing traction. Gedi boosts network capacity. Staff. Press Trust of India in Mumbai. Express distribution firm Gedi has ramped up its network capacity by 20 to 25% by adding 100 line haul trucks to its flexi network to connect locations, besides scaling up workforce by at least 15%, a release set on Tuesday. The move is aimed at cutting down the dwell time further in view of the huge spike in demand during the festival season, which is considered a stress test time for supply chain players, it said. Moreover, to cater to the festive demand more efficiently, Gidi Air has bolstered its network by partnering leading airlines, providing direct connections to 28 commercial airports in India. This is the third direct airline engagement this year, the company said. Services exports may cross $240 billion in 2021 to 2022. Tourism to give impetus, ACPC chief. Press Trust of India, New Delhi. Seeking incentives from the government, ACPC on Tuesday said the country's services exports are expected to reach over $250 billion during 2021-22 on account of healthy performance by segments such as professional and management consulting services, audiovisual, freight transport services, and telecommunications. Services Export Promotion Council (SCPC) Chairman Manik Devar said during the first 5 months of the current fiscal year, exports from the sector increased 14% to $95 billion. Total services exports for 2021-22 are expected to touch over $250 billion and may increase even further when the tourism sector is opened up later in the year, Mr. Davar said. In 2022-21, services exports dipped by 3% to $206 billion. He added that the recovery of services is largely based on the performance of sectors such as professional and management consulting services. He also said the target of $1 trillion in services exports by 2030 set by the government is feasible, but there is a need to look at sectors other than IT and ITES for growth. The need of the growth, however, is to provide a level playing field with manufacturing and incentives to tide over the pandemic. Bharti offers IQVIA service to tap OTT players. Indian OTT market to touch $12.5 billion. Special correspondent New Delhi. Bharti Airtel on Tuesday unveiled its video platform as a service offering as the telco looks to cash in on the over-the-top OTT video market in the country. The solution Airtel IQ Video already has 3 customers, Raj TV, Eros Now and CG Telecom of Nepal, and will allow businesses to build world-class video streaming products for large and small screens with minimal investment in infrastructure and technology, the company said. Bharti expects to onboard more than 50 brands on the platform in the coming year. Airtel IQ Video is an end-to-end managed solution that brings convenience along with cost benefits, Bharti said. According to RBSA advisors, India's video OTT market is expected to touch $12.5 billion by 2030 from $1.5 billion currently. The report also highlighted that the next wave of growth in the OTT landscape would come from their Tier 2, 3 and 4 cities. Godrej urges firms to step up ESG efforts. Special correspondent Mumbai. The industry should do much more than complaints towards meeting environmental, social and governance ESG goals, said Jimshed in Godrej, MD Godrej and Boys Manufacturing Company Limited. He said this while reiterating the firm's commitment towards ESG for larger benefit of all the stakeholders. The firm had announced ESG goals with the specific targets to achieve in 10 years. He said the entire transportation system should be electrified to achieve the goals. In the last 10 years, the firm had invested more than 500 crore rupees in ESG initiatives. Power sector given priority in coal supply. New Delhi. State-owned CIL said the supply of coal was prioritized temporarily to power producers to replenish their dwindling stock of the dry fuel. The statement assumes significance in the wake of the country's power plants grappling with fuel shortages. This was a highly transitory measure and normalcy will be restored soon, CIL said in a filing. Two top oil executives to get ahead of IPO. Bengaluru. SoftBank Group backed ride-hailing from firm Ola is said to lose two top executives as per an internal memo seen by Reuters ahead of a likely $1 billion IPO. CFO Swayam Saraf and COO Gaurav Porwal are leaving, as per the memo sent to staff by CEO Bhavish Agarwal. Ola did not immediately respond to a Reuters request for comment. PNG unveils 500 crore rupees rural growth fund. Mumbai. Procter & Gamble PNG India has announced a 500 crore rupees PNG rural growth fund to accelerate inclusive growth in rural market. This fund will provide external partners an opportunity to collaborate with PNG on business solutions customized for meeting the needs of rural consumers. This will include solutions like tech-enabled selling, the firm said. Policybazaar parent gets nod for 6,018 crore rupees IPO. New Delhi. PB Fintech Limited that operates online insurance platform Policybazaar and credit comparison portal Paisabazaar has received SEBI's approval to raise 6,017.50 crore rupees through an initial share sale. The initial public offer IPO comprises a fresh issue of 3,750 crore rupees worth of equity shares and an offer for sale of 2,267.50 crore as per DRHP. Gold demand likely to stay robust in 2022. Mumbai. The demand for gold is likely to remain subdued this year following COVID-related disruptions that continues in India, the World Gold Council (WGC) said in a report. However, in 2022, the impact of pent-up demand for the precious metal is likely to herald a period of robust demand, the council said in the report titled "The Drivers of Indian Gold." Sensex 61,768, gold 46,580. That's all. Thank you.